It's Bullseye. I'm Jesse Thorn. Next up, our pal Bill Hader. Of course, you know him from his time on Saturday Night Live. He was often an impressions guy. He did an incredible Vincent Price. Exactly what all the kids wanted to hear, a perfect Vincent Price impression. But his most famous character was Stefon from Weekend Update. I mean, I'm sure you remember Stefon, right?
New York's hottest club is Taste.
Oh, no.
Nightlife designer Tranny Griffith is back with an all-new club that answers the question, huh? Don't look for a bouncer, there isn't one. Instead, the door is guarded by 10 jacked homeless guys in old-fashioned bathing suits.
Bill left Saturday Night Live in 2013, and he's been in movies like Trainwreck, Inside Out, Sausage Party. He also co-starred with Fred Armisen in the IFC show Documentary Now, which features elaborate parodies of the greatest documentaries of all time. If you've ever wanted to see Grey Gardens as a found-footage horror movie, now's your chance. His latest project is a TV show called Barry. Hader stars as the show's title character, Barry Berkman. He's an ex-Marine turned low-rent hitman in Ohio turned aspiring actor in L.A. It sounds like a comedy, and it is. There were a lot of great jokes in it, but it's also really dark. It's not cute or especially stylish about the ways that it shows violence and trauma. And in that way, even though the premise is a little preposterous, Barry is very honest. Hader co-created the show and directed the pilot and a number of other episodes. And the feelings are real. They come from the man. Here's a little bit from Barry's first season, which just premiered. Barry just screwed up a hit. His clients spotted him hugging the guy he was supposed to kill, an aspiring actor named Ryan. In this scene, Barry is in a hotel room and he comes clean to his partner, Fuchs, played by the great Stephen Root.
Something really, really cool happened, okay?
Okay.
I followed Ryan yesterday, and he went to this theater to take an acting class, and I ended up doing a scene with him from True Romance.
True Romance is a movie.
Yeah, it's LA theater, so I guess all the scenes they do are from movies. Point is, I was really good, and afterwards I hung out with all of them.
Them?
The acting class, and they're super nice.
The whole class, including the guy you were supposed to burn?
Ryan Madison, yeah. No, he's a great dude. And I don't know, they just made me feel really good about myself, you know? And you know how you and I talk all the time about my purpose?
You think acting could be your purpose?
I don't know. I just feel really motivated right now or something. Like, it made me feel really good.
Okay, but what about what we do together, Barry?
Well, you know, they told me a very small percentage of actors actually make a living acting, you know, so most of them have day jobs. So I just figured, you know, I'd do night hits or something. Just.
Bill Hader, welcome back to Bullseye. It's
Hey,
nice
buddy.
to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too, man.
I guess I hadn't ever thought about it, but I didn't know that you hadn't directed anything before.
Yeah, no, I hadn't.
Because you're one of the most borderline compulsive film nerds that I've ever spoken with on this show. And I'm including like whatever lifelong movie director, Ryan Johnson or whatever, is included in that. You're right up there with them. Elvis Mitchell, you're right on that list.
Yeah, when I get around those guys, we have a really fun conversation that it's outside people, I think, looks like we're speaking a different language.
Why do you think that is that you'd never tried to do that?
Well, I think because, you know, I moved out to LA in 1999 to do that, and I didn't have any money, so I was just PAing and stuff like that, and that, you know, making money as a crew person, you know, takes up all your time, and then I would be done, and I would have no energy to do anything. And so that coupled with you come to LA and everybody wants to do that. And I grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I was the only one that wanted to do that. And so you get a bit insecure and a bit intimidated. And then you also just don't want to be just another person with Final Draft on their laptop in a coffee shop. You know what I mean? So I would keep it to myself more, I think. And then the third thing I would say is I had that thing, I don't know if you can relate to this, but what I liked was the best thing, you know. It was, so if I made something, it had to stand up to, Spinal Tap or Dr. Strangelove or Taxi Driver or Jaws or whatever it was, I put too much pressure on myself. So I would make little things and then I would start editing them and I would go, this sucks, and I would discard it. So the good thing about doing sketch was that it was weirdly disposable. You went up, you do, or improv. You would do an improv show and it was just, oh, that went good, or well, that didn't go good. Let's move on.
There's a great interview with Ira Glass where he talks about the point in your career that no one tells you about is the point where your tastes outstrip your abilities.
Yeah.
So you have gotten to the point where you have taste. You can recognize something that's good. You can look at your thing and say, oh, but this isn't that.
Exactly. And that's a much more eloquent way of putting it. But it is a thing where you look at it and just say, I just don't have it. And what the good people, everyone, if you go back and look at them, even Scorsese made these great short films and stuff, but Who's That Knocking on My Door took years to make, and then he came out, and some people liked it, some people didn't. It got him a job doing a Roger Corman movie. It wasn't until Mean Streets, it wasn't until his third feature that people went, whoa, this is really good. So everyone's journey is different.
I think there's also a weird perspective that it gives you to work on a film set. And this is from, I've worked on a film set 5 days in my life or whatever.
Yeah.
But from, my best buddy was a PA and whatever the lowest level of producer is on things for the first 8 or 10 years that he lived out here. And the things that I remember him telling me about were that at the PA level, half or sometimes 2/3 of the people who are your coworkers are so incompetent that you can't believe that they could have ever gotten a job.
Yeah.
But then, everyone else pretty much is hyper competent.
Yeah.
And so you get this weird, either you get, I guess, a confidence boost from the fact that you're there working hard and the other people who's someone's nephew aren't, or you're just how would you ever? And it's also so the competency part is so all-consuming.
Yeah. You just, you would call those people furniture. That's what we call those people. We would go, oh, that person's just furniture. You would, they're just useless. But yeah, I just know that when I was on movie sets, it at first it made it seem so impossible because it was so big and this giant army of people making a thing, and you're so exhausted, and you're just, to try to keep your persistence of vision, that was a hard thing because each day is different, a new problem, and you just go, oh gosh, I hope this all cuts together. I hope, we're all telling the same story. That's the kind of thing that I learned over time, what makes a bad product.
I think we might share some personality traits. I feel like I almost lucked into having any kind of career at all because I am the kind of person who's terrified to try and do something really special and amazing because I feel like I could never actually achieve what I wish it would be.
Exactly.
But then one day in college, I walked to the college radio station, and you get a show on the college radio station and you have to fill that time.
Yeah.
You can't not show up.
Right.
That's not one of the choices. So the fact that I've, done this dumb show once a week for 19 years or whatever.
Yeah, and I knew about this show and when I got SNL, 2005, it was, what I mean?
But I imagine SNL was a similar thing. One of the things about Saturday Night Live is that it's live.
Yeah.
And you have to do it.
Yeah, it's awful.
You know what I mean?
Oh my God, no, I hosted last weekend and I was a wreck all week. I had friends who've only known me post SNL, and they went, wow, you seemed like you're having a nervous breakdown. I was like, oh no, that's just my SNL face, which is I'm just very focused. And and Lorne Michaels, to his credit, came down before the show and went, will you relax? He's like, stop worrying. Have fun. He's like, you're going to be fine. I go, I know. This is just my process, as I kind of have a flip out. And, the thing that Alex Bays used to run Update, he would always say to me, after everything, I'd run up to him, was that good? Was that good? Was that all right? And I'd go, yes, Bill, stop. Because I don't even really hear the audience.
I read an interview recently with Norm Macdonald, and I don't know, we're roughly the same age, and Norm Macdonald was my hero when I was a teenager.
On Update, he was unreal.
Yeah, it was the greatest thing I'd ever seen him.
Yeah, him on Update with Downey writing was kind of the golden.
And he talked about the fact that he regularly had panic attacks at Saturday Night Live, including on the air.
Yeah.
Which, Norm Macdonald, though in some ways he appears to be completely insane, is a very cool customer.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
I've never met the man, but
he's very cool. Yeah.
And it really blindsided me, that fact and that insight into what his actual experience in that world was, because I thought, his anxiety attacks weren't about the head of NBC not liking him for making fun of O.J. Simpson.
Yeah, and
they were
kept
just
doing
about
it. Yeah, he seemed like a real ballsy guy. Yeah, and that even he got. I think it's the week is really hard on you, and when you do, I had a panic attack on air once when I was playing Julian Assange, and people have watched it and they can't tell, but I knew that I started sweating and my things where I couldn't project my voice, I would get very quiet. And people can't hear me because, I would start to just crumble. I remember I was a Ronald Reagan robot once in a cold open, and I couldn't project. I just didn't project my voice. And Seth Meyers went, "Oh, is there something wrong with the microphone or whatever?" I go, "No, I'm having a panic attack." But even other cast members, and I don't want to say their names, it's have come to me and said, "Oh no, I had a full-on panic attack," or I had one cast member just left, just flew home, just when my brain's a little broken, you know what I mean, and. I missed a show for a week, and I get it, because it's a lot of accumulative stress.
But you did it for 8 years, and you were good at it.
Yeah, I know, and it was hard the whole time. It was never.
Do you know you were good at it?
I know I was good at it. Yeah, I look at it, and I'm someone that's very much going like, geez, again, what we're talking about. In my head, I'm projecting this. And then when I see it, I'm like, oh, I can hear my voice in that impression a little too much. Or, oh, gosh, I wish my physicality was a little different. I thought I was doing this, but instead it looks like that. And that can be exhausting to talk to people about, where they go, Bill, it went great. Relax. But for me, it's mostly, going like, okay, that was good. And I was happy on Saturday that I kind of said, oh, I'm just going to have fun, and throw that out and hang with the cast and just goof around and just have a good time.
I want to play a clip of you doing Stefon on the recent Saturday Night Live that you hosted. And Stefon is what is his setup, like a nightlife correspondent or something?
Yeah, he's supposed to tell tourists in New York where to go.
This was maybe your best known recurring character on Saturday Night Live. There's a lot of Vincent Price fans out there.
Yeah, no, but this was the thing that when people come up to me, this is usually the thing they talk about.
And I think I said this the last time you were on the show, but I think it's the funniest recurring character on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, that's nice.
Of ever.
Oh, thanks.
It's usually just this list of weird specifics that John Mulaney or you and John Mulaney or...
Yeah, John Mulaney and I remember once that guy Joe Mandy had thrown in a couple that they used, but mostly it's Mulaney. And then between dress and air, he would change things around, or he would show them to me as I was walking out. Sometimes I'm reading them for the first time. But a lot of times it's him kind of as I'm walking out, like, oh, this got changed to this. And I go, okay, this character is now called Gay Liotta. And I go, okay. and then I'm saying it for the first time on air, but he's told me, and I start laughing. But what also is happening is that the cue card guys are laughing. Seth would be laughing. Chris Kelly, our stage manager, is right off screen, and he's laughing really hard. And I'm a soft touch, man. I laugh really easy. I just laugh.
Well, I mean, that's a pretty funny stuff. Let's listen.
If you're drunk in Midtown doing cheap coke off your laundry card, I have just the place for you. New York's hottest club is Gauche, inspired by true events. This former CVS, which became a Chase Bank and then became a CVS again, has a familiar yet troubling feel, like when Larry King would play himself in a movie.
I hadn't read that before. That was a new thing Mulaney put in. That was the Larry King thing. Like, that's a good example. Like, and then when he came out, Mulaney came out as my lawyer, Shy, the piss artist, and I just, I'm supposed to whisper in his ear, so I go, I just said nothing, and then he whispered, my girlfriend works at Yoshinoya Beef Bowl.
It's like a Japanese-themed chain restaurant that's only
in
on the West Coast.
Yeah, it's only on the West Coast, and it it's just people, mostly John, throwing rocks at me to make me break, and it works.
I want to play another clip from Barry, which is my guest Bill Hader's new show. He stars in it and co-created it and directed a bunch of it, including this episode. So Barry is a hitman who takes a shine to an acting class accidentally. And in this scene, he's basically accidentally trying to talk his way into this acting class. He's come to one and accidentally been involved in it and thought this is kind of amazing. And it had never occurred to him that something could be this magical. And he stops Henry Winkler's character. His name is Kusino. He's the acting teacher in the parking lot and is talking to him through his window. And Kusino basically tells him, "You stink, go home."
Yeah. You want to know what I'm good at? I'm good at killing people. Yeah, when I got back from Afghanistan, I was really depressed. Like I didn't leave my house for months. And this friend of my dad's, he's like an uncle to me. He helped me out and he gave me a purpose. He told me that what I was good at over there could be useful here. And it's a job, Like, the money's good, and these people I take out, like, they're bad people, like, they're pieces of shit. But lately, I'm not sleeping, and that depressed feeling's back, Like, I know there's more to me than that.
And he says, "Oh, did you improvise that?"
Yeah, he thinks it was from a play. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you worry that you would be paralyzed by your influences and that you're such a connoisseur of film especially, and comedy, that would tighten you up, especially writing in a world that has there's some really, really great hitman things.
Yeah.
Like all of the 90s was people trying to make cool hitman things,
Yeah,
and some of them are real good.
Well, yeah, we didn't like that. We wanted it to be more real and kind of, when people read the synopsis, they go, "Oh, it's like Get Shorty." And you go, "No, it's not, like Get Shorty. You could make a Get Shorty, kind of version of this, but we wanted how he was feeling to be real, and we wanted the violence to be real and brutal because it's a world that he doesn't want to be in anymore, so you should show it for what it is." instead of cool or funny, you know, doing some sort of Weekend at Bernie's bit with a body when he runs into, you know, someone from the acting class and has to pretend that they're not dead, you know. It would have been easy to do that stuff, but, you know, again, I just feel like it would be selling it out and also kind of weirdly inappropriate, you know what I mean? So that's the kind of tightrope that the show walks, you know, of saying, yeah, you know, the violence is kind of, what violence is it's brutal and sad. And, you know, he's confronted in the second episode with the father of someone that he's responsible for their death. And he's never seen that before. You go, oh, right, someone dies and all these other people are affected, you know, and this father is never going to be the same again. And it's that guilt, you know, and him, and then the acting people going, yeah, no, those feelings you have, you know, use those, you know, in your work. And so it's just him trying to get into tune, you know, and just trying to access some emotion so he could be human, you know, and that's kind of what the story is.
I mean, I think the thing about people saying, oh, those emotions are important, use them in your work, is that it's both completely true and it is like so gross and embarrassing.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And that it is both of those things at the same time makes it real hard to, I guess, be an artist.
Yeah, I know. It's like that's the weird thing is that's why people get cagey about talking about it. Like because you just don't think of it that way. You're just kind of instinctively doing something and then people try to dissect it and go, well, you know what it is? It's this, you know, and you go, I don't want to think about this because I have to go back and keep doing it and I don't want to be aware of it while I'm doing it, you know? But yeah, I mean, back to your earlier question about influences and things like that, I mean, it was trying hard and I don't know how well I did it, you know, this season and hopefully we'll get more seasons to keep working on it. But was just trying to follow the characters, you know, and base it more on, you know, I would watch the documentary Restrepo and watch those guys and then go, yeah, what if one of those guys became a hitman? And you know what I mean? Instead of looking at movies.
Let's play another clip from my guest Bill Hader's new show, which is called Barry. It's on HBO. This is you in acting class. Henry Winkler, who plays your acting teacher Kusano, is on stage. You have shot one of the people in the class. Well, you were. You didn't actually do the shooting.
Well, we'll see. You'll see it from the show. Yeah.
Okay, but the point is that you accidentally made a connection with this guy who got you into the acting class, and now that person has been shot and killed. And Henry Winkler is announcing this to the class.
Now, I wish I could say that this was the first time that one of my students was gunned down in the street, but it's not. And as much as it pains me to say it, it is most likely not the last. So, where do we go from here? I say, we do what Ryan would have wanted us to do, and we use it.
Sorry, Mr. Kusno, what's that mean? Use it?
Use Ryan's death, the way that you are feeling right this second. The sorrow, the rage, the terror. You know, I use my past all the time in my work. If I want pure sorrow, I call up Princess Diana's death. Or the day that my dad fell off the roof when I was a kid. Kaplunk.
Kerplunk.
Yeah, he added that. Kerplunk.
There is this character is so it's the most broadly drawn character, at least in the first few episodes, even more than the Chechen gangsters. And I think he has such a sincere quality to him, and he's so apparently sweet that it really lets him behave monstrously. And you're like, well, he's just doing his thing, man.
Yeah, no, he's just, I mean, well, you know, in that world, in that little place, in that acting class, he is a king. He's the ruler. He's the decider. He's the whole thing. And then the minute he steps out of that, he's just an out-of-work actor. It was interesting to watch Henry, saying that to him, when you're in here, you're a king, but when you step out, you're an out-of-work actor. And he went, yeah, no, I get it. And played that, in the scenes, which I thought was really great.
Have you taken acting classes, like acting classes?
No, not really. I took an acting class at a community college once where we did some, but we didn't really do scene work that I remember.
I took an acting class at San Francisco State University, and I remember that I was supposed to go to the zoo, observe an animal, and then come back and act like the animal.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go to the zoo.
Yeah.
In retrospect, I should have. I've gone to the zoo a lot lately, and it's actually really a lot of fun.
Yeah, to act like an animal. Yeah, I feel like there's more, if we got a second season, there's more of that stuff that we could do, It was, because we only have 30 minutes, it's a lot of having to try to streamline things and going, oh gosh, we had this big idea, but now we can't do it because we have to service the story we're telling, so we got to cut all this stuff, and so I would love to get more of that stuff in if we got to do more.
There's a beautiful scene in the pilot episode. I think it's in the pilot episode, might be in the second episode, where your character, Barry, has stumbled into this acting class and ends up going out afterwards with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Barry is a hitman. He's fundamentally alienated from others.
Yeah.
By design, right?
Yeah.
And it's a very beautiful moment of him almost like recognizing that he could enjoy human contact.
Yeah, that he could be a person. Yeah, be in a community. Yeah, no, and I relate to that. I remember moving to LA and not knowing a whole lot of people, and just you latch on to people who are in the same place that you are. You just kind of just hold on to them for dear life, and then out of insecurity and all this other stuff, especially when you're young, then there's infighting and people being jealous that this person got a job on this thing, and I remember a friend got a job as a PA on AI, and oh my God, that's because we were doing these super low budget movies, and how this group of people were kind of pissed, and it's just so silly. It was just really dumb, and just being young and insecure.
But it means a lot to have a place where you belong.
Yeah, and I think he realized that. I mean, for me, that was SNL. That scene is me, my first season, with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler and Fred Armisen and Rachel Dratch and all these, Seth Meyers, all these people at that table getting drinks, and me just thinking, gosh, it'd be great to be a part of this company, and I just feel like I'll learn so much and become a better performer and writer if I just can hang with them and not get fired.
I feel a little weird, and this is something that the audience wouldn't know, but I feel a little weird because your dad is right over there.
Oh yeah, my dad's here.
And you've talked about your dad a little bit on the show.
Mm-hmm.
I guess imagine he's not sitting there.
Yeah.
What would you tell me about him?
Oh, my dad's great. My dad's the reason he liked all the good stuff. When I was growing up, it was, showing me Monty Python at a very young age. He showed me Clockwork Orange when I was way too young. The Wild Bunch, all these things. I got kind of this excitement at being exposed to these, the good stuff. Spinal Tap we used to watch constantly, and Saturday Night Live. And, my parents were very young parents, and so they let us watch what they were watching. And I think my obsession with movies kind of came out of that, because we would always just rent movies, and I'd watch whatever they were watching. I remember seeing Raising Arizona when it first came out on VHS, and
but then very inappropriate. You must have been like 9 or something.
Yeah, I was 9. And then I told this story before, but he also helped me. We watched the movie The Abyss, and there was a scene where Ed Harris is having a problem in his marriage, and later in the movie, this big metal door is about to close, and if it closes, he's going to drown inside the submarine. And he wedges his hand right as the door is closing, and his wedding ring stops the door and then saves his life. And I remember my dad going, "Oh, get it?" And at that age, again, I was like 9 or 11. Yeah, 10 or 11. Going, okay, that's lame. Okay, yeah, don't do that. That's stupid.
Well, Bill Hader, thanks so much.
Thanks, man.
It's always good to see you here. I'm so happy for the new show and all your success.
Oh, thanks, buddy. It's good seeing you, man.
Bill Hader. You can catch him on Barry, Sunday nights at 7:30 Eastern on HBO. His other TV show, Documentary Now, has been renewed for a 3rd season. Look for that to hit the airwaves in 2019.